All right, yogis, hi, welcome back. Thank you for joining me again. I'm in the home studio again, so you may hear the calls of a very headstrong toddler. Again, I apologize in advance should that happen. He is watching Hook with his dad though, so that should keep him somewhat occupied. Take a moment to make sure you've got any bolsters you want to be using, or bolsters, kind of a yoga slip there, any props you want to be using. We talked about pillows, blanket, a scarf, or something you could use in place of a strap. I know how important your restorative classes are. They're so mentally important, and goodness knows we need that focus, that time to breathe during these stressful times as this thing becomes sort of more real. And I know a lot of you, from talking to you and working with you, you carry your stress in your shoulders. I do too. So this is going to be largely geared at your shoulders, this restorative class. Without further ado, let's get started. Let's get rid of most of our items, setting them off to the side, leaving behind just those two pillows. And of course, everyone's different. For some, they may choose to use one pillow. Others might even slide the blanket underneath and come up a little bit higher. But we're going to come into one of my favorites. So knees apart, make space for your pillows. And come into a supported child. One cheek on the bolster. I'll take a little time check, and about halfway through, I'll tell you to switch your face to look in the opposite direction, because you will get a nice little neck stretch here. We're also opening up our hips, our spine, and our shoulders. So one cheek to the mat, or to the pillows, doesn't matter which. You could slide your hands underneath, you could clasp them in front of you. It's really whatever's comfortable. So as you get settled in, I will tell you, these are going to be longer holds. That's what we do on restorative. We want the support of lots of props to hold us up so we can sort of just melt into the pose and find new opening, especially in our more static tissue, like our ligaments, maybe even our joints, our fascia, that connective stuff. So now that you're settled in, I want you to try and soften. You're completely supported. Make those little adjustments if this doesn't feel completely great in your low back. Take a little scan through your body. What feels good here? Where do you still need to release? Are your jaws soft? Are your hips relaxing open? As always, we get that physical awareness, and then we turn it off, going internal. Focusing on the breath within the backs of the lungs, allow the inhales to get a little deeper. Don't be afraid to audibly sigh out an exhale or two. Let go of anything that no longer serves you. You could play with a breathing exercise. Maybe inhaling for a count of 4, exhaling for the same count. Seeing if you can then go to a 5 or even a 6 out. Sometimes I like to visualize my breaths flowing in and imagine them carrying thoughts and feelings away when I exhale. Yogis, we are about halfway through, so why don't you turn, place the opposite cheek on your pillow. Notice any new openings you've created in the neck. Sometimes the smallest changes can create the biggest differences in feeling. So now that we've come internal, we're looking possibly for an intention if we don't want to stay focused just on the breath. We talked about how it could be a word, a phrase, a dedication. Just one little, almost imagining it as a pinpoint of concentration. Your focus goes here when it wants to wander off, but we'll talk more about that. For now, finding that pinpoint and practicing letting go of all other thoughts. Here for just a couple more rounds of breath, completely focused, really sealing up your intention, inhaling it deep into your body, deep into your mind. Alright, yogis, inhale, press up, move nice and slow. We've been in that supported child's for a while now. I am a shorter person and I am shorter in the torso. So I'm going to get my blanket out of the way and you might want to come lower too. I am still going to use two pillows here. We're turning them now horizontal on our mat. And we're going to lay our chest on the bolster like we're coming into a supported space. My right hand is going to be closest to my pillows right now. My left is going to come in front. And I'm going to try and line my elbows. And if you want a deeper stretch in your shoulders, you might even go past, so your elbows are past one another. I'm going to take a little flip, so if you have any confusion, you can see what I'm doing here. I'll actually hold the pose just like this so you can see me. So my rib cage is on my pillows. I'm going to come forward just a bit. Right hand, ooh, you can't see me. In front. Left hand, fingers reaching. I'm going for the deeper stretch. You see how far my elbows are past one another. You can keep them closer together. Now many of us might not have a block at home for our forehead. So instead, we'll play with keeping our neck in line with our spine. I look down at the floor, maybe about 8 or so inches in front of me. You should feel space opening up behind your shoulder blades. Your hands are just relaxed to the mat. A more active pose, we won't hold it quite as long. With any pose, you can always come out if you're feeling any strain. You can always reset and get back in. If you are looking for deeper, you could play with lowering your head just a little bit, but be mindful that you don't strain your shoulders or your neck. Deeper isn't always better. Inhaling deep into the shoulders. Exhaling, clearing out any tension you find behind the blades. Letting the tops of your hands relax to the mat. Alright, yogis. Inhale, come up. We're going to neutralize with the Sphinx. So my forearms are in front of me and my palms are down. I'm going to take a turn so you get a better idea of what I'm doing. My rib cage is still very much on these pillows. See how my elbow is stacked right under my shoulder? And again, we're looking for that neutral positioning in the neck. Right now I'm looking right at the top edge of my mat, just a few inches in front. We're getting a good deal of compression in our shoulders and our low back. We're going to undo all that really soon. For right now, you're inhaling. Your focus goes to that one point of attention. All other thoughts fall away. All right. Let's bring our left hand, and that's the best thing about this pose. You don't have to do too much moving as we use this for our counter. Closest to our pillows now, before it was the right. Right arm comes in front, tops of hands are relaxed to the mat. You're deciding how far you want to take your elbows. Do you want to keep them more in a line? Do you want to go a little further? What feels good in your shoulders? Deeper, not always better. Find a place where you could relax into the opening, where it's not too intense. Find that non-moving point, a couple inches ahead, that gives you the neutral neck. Deep breath into the shoulders, big exhale to clear them out. Close your eyes. Visualize breath or return to intention. Here, just a couple more rounds of breath. Stay with me. Stay present. Inhale, come come up. Bring elbows under shoulders. One more Sphinx. How does it feel in the low back? All right. Gentle press up. Take all the time you need to come to a table. Keep these things nearby. We're going to come onto our seat. So we were really kind of compressing our low back in those two poses. I want to undo some of that. So here's what we're going to do. Got two pillows. I want very supported knees. For some, that might just mean a blanket, especially if you've got something extra squishy. Maybe it's one of those pillows. But nice supported knees. And then I'm going to take both of my pillows, bring them on top of my legs, and I'm going to take a fold forward, and I'm going to open up everything in my back. I'm going to create a lot of space in my spine. You might not feel a lot of stretch in the backs of your legs, but what's really cool about this is we tend to feel the stretch more in our tendons when we take a big forward fold, because our knees or our tendons don't have quite the same memory as our muscles. So we are still opening up the legs, even if it's not the deepest leg stretch you've ever taken. Forward folds also have really calming benefits. Your chin could be down if it's not too intense. If you even wanted to come up a little higher, that's okay. But looking for lots of space in the back. Your neck is neutral if your chin isn't resting. The focus is on your breathing. Experiencing the calming properties of this pose. Head is clearing around that one focus point of concentration. Or maybe it's clearing with every exhale. Are you melting deeper now that you're releasing open? We're here for just a couple more rounds. Inhale, floats you off. Finding a nice neutral spine. Set pillows, blankets to the side. All right. Now that we've given our spine some time to neutralize, let's head back into the shoulders, stealing a little bit more from yin than a truly restorative class. So here are your options. I love shoelace. It's a great hip opener. This is what a half shoelace looks like. I hope you can see that my knee is tracking over my left knee. Here's a full shoelace. My knee is trying to line them up. The shoelace doesn't work for every set of hips or every set of knees. If you fall into that category, I want you to instead take your blanket, give it a nice fold, place it underneath you, and sit in a nice easy seat. The legs don't matter as much as what we're about to do with the shoulders. If there's anyone out there joining me in a shoelace, be it half or full, I'm going to start bringing right on top of left and then bringing left underneath. See how my heels are kind of coming towards my hips? Two options, easy seat with blanket or shoelace. Then I'm going to take my strap and I'm going to bring it into my right hand. I'm going to inhale my right hand up, bend my elbow, left hand's going to find the strap. All right, yogis. So I'm going to turn and face now that you have the setup. So a couple things about this pose. You want your elbow up towards the ceiling, like you're trying to make a triangle for your head. It doesn't matter if one hand is near your low back or your seat and the other's much higher up. What matters is that you're not rounding into this pose. You want to inhale, bring length into the spine. We're not looking up, but we also don't want our chin melting to our chest. Lengthen the whole spine, that includes the neck. It's going to be an intense stretch for the front of your left shoulder. I love this pose because it's the ultimate for better posture, for opening the fronts of our shoulders. Continue to inhale length into the body. Exhaling away any tension you might be feeling. One more inhale, fill. Exhale, drop the strap. Oh, send your arms long as a counter pose. Take a little roll through your shoulders. Inhale, bring your hands up, big reach. Right over left. We're going to come to eagle arms. Don't forget, palms don't have to be together. Could be backs of hands if that's more accessible, or palms on shoulders. Either way, you're inhaling, finding length in the spine, pulling your wrists away from face if you have palms together or backs of hands together. Everything we kind of just compressed in the back of our shoulders, we're now opening up. Another big release for behind the shoulder blades. Your eyes could be closed. If your forearms are wrapped, you could have a soft, unfocused gaze right at the forearms. Exhale, unwind. Couple shrugs. Alright, if you're in shoelace legs, unwind. If you're in easy seat, maybe you unwind with us. A little windshield wiper never hurt. A nice release for the hips, low back. Legs long. Unless you like to be in easy seat, maybe we try switching out the ankles. It might feel a little bit unnatural. If you're in the easy seat, don't forget a blanket, really nice for the low back. So now right leg's out, left is dropping. If you're taking the half or full shoelace would look like bringing right underneath. My apologies, before I said strap, and I didn't show you how it would look with your scarf or your belt or whatever you've chosen. So this item is going to come down to the left hand. You're going to bend at the elbow, send it down the back just like we did before. This time the right arm is going to find it. Alright, you see the setup? I'm going to turn around now so I can talk to you a little bit easier. So now you should feel the big stretch in the front of the right shoulder. Inhaling length into the body. Exhaling tension out. Creating that little triangle pocket for your head. A little lift of your chin. Not looking up, but keeping spine in line with the rest of the body. Sometimes I have you take a moment of body awareness, especially when we switch sides so obviously, and note the differences. So oftentimes people will say their right side is tighter. Sometimes even lefties say that. If that's where we carry our groceries, that might be the tighter shoulder. A bag or anything else. And of course, dominance doesn't always have anything to do with it, but just noting the differences. And then bringing the focus back to the breathing. Inhaling length, exhaling release. One more big inhale. Exhale, drop whatever you are using for a strap. Arms come out long as your counter. Arms come down. A shrug for the shoulders. Ready to open up the backs of the shoulders now. Inhale up. This time it's left over right, our eagle arms. Finding the continued length in spine. Stacking wrists over shoulders, inhaling lift into the elbows. Things might be different on this side, maybe this side. You bring your hands to your shoulders or backs of hands together. Things change from side to side, and that is okay. Still inhaling length. Exhaling release. One more inhale, fill. Exhale, unwrap. Arms out long. All that space we've created. Drop the arms. Take your shrugs. If you're in the shoelace, a little unwind. Bending. Find your release. Alright. Remember the deer pose I showed you last night? We're going to come back into that, but supported. So we're going to skip this whole forward fold in the straddle. We're going to go right to deer pose legs. So as you remember, maybe you remember, the knee is trying to line with the ankle, or the hip, the ankle trying to line with the knee. I'll give you a little flip so you can see how it looks. My left leg is bent, my foot kind of tucked against my right. I'm going to take my two pillows here to the left side, and this is one of my favorite poses. I'm just going to fold side body over the pillows. You should feel a pretty big stretch here. If this is very intense for you, don't be afraid to grab the blanket, bring yourself up a little higher. And the best part about this pose is you just ease into it, soften in, feel all of this space here on the right side. You can give your bolster a little hug, feels nice and safe. When people fall asleep in a restorative class, it is often in this pose. Big inhales. Head clearing exhales. Find your breath, your focal point. Take a moment to just be. It's okay if your mind starts to wander up. Sometimes thoughts from the past, to-do list for the day or the evening ahead of us creep in. Our mindfulness practice comes with exhaling away those thoughts, returning to our intention or to our breath. Here, just a couple more rounds of breath. Alright, yogis. Inhale, gently come up. Take your right leg out, your left out. Bend your knees. Find some release. The great counter pose, windshield wiper. So I'm going to move this whole configuration now over against my right hip. I'm going to bend my right knee in, take my left long, setting up what looks like the half straddle, only to bend into the left knee, line it up with my hip the best I can. If it comes forward just a touch, that's okay. Ankle in line with the knee, just as before. We're going to take side body over onto our pillows, our blanket, however much support we'd like. Noticing the stretch here on the outside. Easing into this pose. You can always bring your hands under your pillow to bring yourself up a little higher. And then just give your pillows a little hug. That restful, soothing, little side body twist. In our practice, clearing our minds, finding present moment. If things start to feel overwhelming off your mat, you can exhale away those thoughts. Put a space of breath in between you and whatever is happening. That's our non-reaction, our non-attachment. Training our brains by doing that with the thoughts. And then a moment to just ease into the pose and be here and present. Are you softening? Are you melting over time? Keep releasing, keep focusing. Inhale, come up. Easing up. Take left long. Right out to meet it. Find release in the low back and the hips one more time with the windshield wiper. Alright, we've done some twisting, we've done some bending. Let's now open up our chest. A supported fish. Everything's just as it should be. We're going to nestle these items into our low back, and we're just going to lay back on it. I was initially worried that this wouldn't bring us up as high enough as a bolster would in a yoga class. My configuration feels pretty good. How about yours? Do you need to come up a little bit higher? I love here in supported fish taking my fingers out long and the backs of my hands to the mat. That intensifies the shoulder stretch for me. But if that's too intense for you, by all means, bring your hands in a little bit closer. We never want strain. Deep stretch, a little sweet discomfort, all that's what we're searching for. Never strain, never discomfort. Take a moment to check in with your jaw, your face. Find complete release in those muscles. A heart opener, allowing for lots of space in the front of the lungs. We haven't spent very much time with the insides of the hips, so what I'm about to offer you is 100% optional. You could take soles together, knees apart. You might not have blocks at home, and maybe you're used to bringing blocks under your knees in a restorative class. If that's the case, and you feel uncomfortable, bring your legs back long. Supported fish is a fantastic place to be. If you wanted to add that inside hip opener, you could lower the intensity by bringing your heels away from body, kind of creating a little length in the diamond. But again, if it's just uncomfortable, don't take it. Body soft. Eyes are heavy. Are you finding it a little easier to come back to breath or intention now that we've been practicing as long as we have? I try and leave lots of room for space and silence in my restorative classes. For active minds, that can feel a little overwhelming. Trying to find the peace, though, in the quiet. If your knees are apart, start guiding them together. Maybe you take a little mini windshield wiper. If your legs were apart, if your legs were long on the mat, meet us here with a bent knee. We're gently going to drop our knees to one side, and we're going to roll off of these pillows that we were laying on. And I want you to drop one to one side, one to the other. The blanket can come out of the way for now, unless, of course, you'd like to support the head, by all means. We'll end with a little twisting. I love to end with twisting. Bring your knees into your chest. A little squeeze, a little rock. And then set your knees onto one of your pillows, a more supported ending twist. You could still reach your fingers, you could still look away from your knees. If you wanted to make it that much more restorative, you could take your second pillow, bring it between the knees. Again, that wringing out of body. What can you let go of here? Any lingering tension is released. Any remaining thoughts are cleared. Bring your head center. If you have a pillow between your knees, get rid of it. Draw your knees into your chest. Take a little rocking squeeze and exhale to open. Find some release. And then set your knees to the left. On your pillow. Maybe you're adding pillow between the knees, really creating lots of space. Maybe you're reaching, maybe looking away. Easing into this twist, making it restorative. Going back to your focus point, whether that's intention or breath. Completely present in this final twist. Yogis, we're coming into those final breaths of our hold. All the focus is on these final breaths. Bring your head center. Get rid of the pillow. Draw knees to chest. Exhale the back opening, squeeze. Coming in for any little final rocks, final movements. And then we'll come in to our final resting pose. And I love nothing more than a pillow under the knees, the calves. Of course, if you prefer Savasana without a prop, by all means. But for me, this is the best way to get my ankles completely relaxed. Again, if you want to bring the other pillow under your head, the blanket as a roll under your neck, by all means. We release a lot of tension here in this practice. Now your goal is to completely soften into your body. Allow it to melt into the mat. Muscles in your face are totally soft. Now we're going past our focal point. We want awareness, but we're unfocused on anything. Meditating isn't easy. You may feel restless. You might wander off mentally. Keep coming back. Stay with me. Inhale deeply, start bringing awareness back. Start moving the fingers and the toes, the wrists and the ankles. Wake the neck with a look side to side. Reach, take a stretch. I always tell my students in an evening class, you don't have to stretch to wake back up if you just want to create a little weight length in your body. That's perfectly okay. Head to your right side. Come in for a pause. Soaking up all that space and calm and peace we created. Come on up. Yogis, as always, I can't thank you enough for sharing your practice with me. Namaste.